Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by the brilliant LB. Man like Aaron Talks Arsenal is back with us again. Viewers, get like buttons hit, get yourself subscribing and turn on that bell notification button. Very, very important to us that you get that done as well. Thanks for the raid as well from LB's channel. I know you were live just before we were, so appreciate everybody coming across to support on this show. Loads to talk about, because it just feels like the news is moving so quickly with Chelsea bidding for Lopez, Arsenal about to announce a deal for a brand new centre-back. Hincapie to Arsenal is all but done. Garnacho to Chelsea as well. 35 million fixed fee is now what Chelsea are offering to Man United. So I'm so gutted that Chelsea fan didn't take my 10 grand bet. He was like, "Oh, I guarantee you it's 25,000." I offered him 10 grand bet. He said no. What a shame he didn't take it. I knew that would happen. We're talking that. Okay. We're also looking at the situation with Alexander Isak, because he has rejected another offer from Newcastle to stay today, with the owners going to his house, and he told them no. We're talking Yameen's to Manchester United as well, plus a little bit of a review of the weekend's games and the start to the Premier League as well. But gentlemen, how are you both? First and foremost,
yeah, solid, man. Yeah, good. I didn't know that about Isak, so that'd be interesting, man. Have a conversation about that, yeah. But yeah, I'm good, man. Football aside.
Well, the only one of us here that could be happy with the football this weekend is man like 5-star Aaron. Yeah,
me. Yeah, no, mate. I'm happy. 3 points, another 3 points. Decent, convincing win, wasn't it? 5-0. It's what you wanted, especially after the poor performance at Man United. It was poor. I'll take the win all day long. Opening game of the season, away at Manchester United. I'd have took it any way, shape or form, the 3 points. But it was imperative that we got a really good performance as well as 3 points against Leeds. And that's what we got. You know, we wrote the wrong in some sort of way of playing poorly at Old Trafford. And, you know, it was a 5-0 performance. I thought it was fantastic. A little cheeky bit of Eze just before the kickoff as well. I'll take that and all. And some geezer I've never heard of, the old Hincapie or whatever, he's coming in. So it's not been a bad week. I've had worse weeks as an Arsenal fan.
No, I bet you haven't. We're going to delve into that story a little bit later, because, again, what I've read about this Hincapie is really good. But we'll have a chat about that in the Arsenal section later in the video. I did want to start with the Alexander Isak news, because obviously last night's game was... Well, I thought it was amazing, actually. I just thought it had a bit of everything. Red cards, bad tackles, fantastic goals, teenage goal scorers on their debut. Sort of Newcastle went old school Stoke when they had to and just bullied Liverpool. Liverpool still got it was an amazing game of football. But of course, in the backdrop of that game, gents, is this whole scenario surrounding Alexander Isak. And what was reported this morning, and this is from a Newcastle correspondent. I'm just scrolling down to the story here. So he stated here that Newcastle's co-owner Jamie Rubin and a PIF delegation, so a group of people from their owners, had spoken to Alexander Isak at his home in an attempt to convince him to stay at the club and return to Eddie Howe's squad. What Lee Ryder, again, this is a Newcastle correspondent, has then gone on to say is that Alexander Isak remains firm in his desire to join Liverpool, despite attempts from Newcastle's hierarchy at his home to convince him to stay. It's again since then been reported by their press that they are now making new attempts at Wissa and Larson of Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, although some Newcastle outlets keep saying he's not for sale, if he's not for sale, again, I don't understand what the delegation is doing at his house. LB, if they're not selling him, it's a non-starter, isn't it? They don't need to go to his house if he's not for sale.
Well, unless they want to offer him a new contract.
Fair.
And they're like having conversations about that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, they just need an outcome here, man. And I know we've only got 5 days left of the window or whatever, so we will get an outcome at some point. But Newcastle might have won that game yesterday if Isak was on the pitch. Because that first 20, 30 minutes, they created a lot of decent opportunities getting the ball into a good area. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. You know, the Villa game, they would have won that Villa game. Yeah, ask Villa fans. Yeah, most Villa fans will be honest and say they probably would have. Villa would have lost that game. Newcastle probably would have won that game if they had Isak. So Newcastle have now got 1 point out of a possible 6. Yeah, maybe they don't win yesterday. Maybe they just get a draw if Isak's on the pitch. Yeah. But you look at an extra 3 points. So already for me, I think minimum already Isak has cost Newcastle 3 points. And I don't think that's controversial. I think that's pretty fair to say. If you watch the Villa game versus Newcastle, yeah, they would have won that game if they had Isak on the pitch. And I think they could have got a point yesterday, even maybe won the game if they had Isak. So it's already cost them 3 points minimum, maybe even more. And the problem that obviously Newcastle have got is they are in a strong position because they're able to take this stance. But if they do hold on to him and he doesn't sign a new contract, you're just going to be in this position again next year. You're kicking the can down the road, which is why I would imagine Newcastle will probably be trying to offer him a contract and put some sort of release clause in there to make it crystal clear that he can go next year. It's out of Newcastle hands so long as someone pays the release clause. The problem is, does Isak want to do that? He's probably still trying to force his way out now. He probably still wants to go to Liverpool now. So what I expect is I reckon he stays at Newcastle, and then once the transfer deadline's done, I reckon they give him a contract to sweeten him up, to make sure he's firing in all cylinders. He gets a little bit of a pay rise, and then I think they'll put in a written clause into the contract with a release clause. And I think next year he leaves. It kind of reminds me a little bit, obviously not exactly the same circumstances, but the Cunha deal last year at Wolves. Like he signed that deal, at Wolves last year. Everyone knew he was leaving the year after, and I kind of feel that's what's going to happen. I think he'll stay. I think he's trying to get out still, probably. So I think he's trying to push for a move. I don't think it happens. I think the transfer window closes. He signs a new contract, and then it has a release clause in, and then he goes next year.
Yeah, optics can be really important in this, can't they? In the sense of teams want to look like they've won, even if it is just kicking the can down the road and maintaining a bit of value here. Aaron, a lot of people in the comments agreeing with LB. There are also people that look at this and say, well, Isak's not cost them the points. They have. They've been trying to sign replacements all summer, and they've failed every step of the way. Had they have got their business done earlier, had they have landed or gone for the right targets, they would have had a striker respect. Because I actually think if they have Larson up front or Wisser up front last night, I think all of them win them the game. They had the ball in great areas, and it kind of went wrong for them. But do you look at Isak here as the problem in this, or is it a bit of a combination of all of them?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of a combination of all of them. I mean, obviously not having Isak there, a prolific goal scorer for Newcastle for the past 2-3 years, is going to put a lot of chances away, especially in the 2 games LB was saying. It's just a fact. They would have had better results and they would be on more points if Isak would have started the last 2 games. I'm convinced of that. But equally, you make a good point. Newcastle can't be blameless here. They've had 2+ months to sort out this position. They knew that
what could they have done? No. What could they have done different?
Sign a striker. That's what they could have done.
Sign a striker? Then what about if they keep Isak?
Well, I have 2 strikers then. I don't understand why it's
so. Yeah, but they're not going to sign a top tier elite striker.
I didn't say top tier striker, did I? But having no one up there is surely not as good as having a Wisser in there. Come on, LB. You know for an absolute fact that Isak was going to cause a stinker. It was going to cause disruption, and the likelihood of him either leaving this summer or next summer was almost a guarantee. That's just a fact. So for them as a football club to not put practices or motions in place to possibly get around this, I think it's a little bit criminal for Newcastle not to do that. Come on, man. You can't tell me that they was expecting from board level to fan level, expecting Isak to say, well, we just won't sell him, and then he won't kick up a fuss, and then he'll start the season fantastic. It don't work that way. Newcastle, why not have 2 strikers anyway? I don't understand that. Manchester City do it. And then you think if he goes, there you go. You don't have to sign a player. You probably get them for cheaper because everyone in their nan knows now if they sell Isak, guess what? Newcastle were desperate for a striker, so the 10 million goes up. The value when the player goes up, the contract goes up. That's just what you get for poor preparation, unfortunately. I think it is a mixture of both. Newcastle, they've not done enough to sort of deal with this, and I think it's really poor from top to bottom, minus the fans. They're the ones that really suffer in all this. Always the fans. The Newcastle fans don't deserve it. I genuinely don't think they do. Their club should have backed them and sorted this mess out weeks ago.
Yeah, look, I think I agree. I think it's a combination. They have been trying to sign strikers. They tried to get Ekitike. They tried to get Šeško. They've been bidding for Wisser and Larson for a combined total of about 6 to 7 weeks. There's other players as well they went for this summer they didn't get, and there is an element of blame on the way they've been structured this summer and their approach. I get why people are angry at Isak. I just tend not to be. The reason being is we just keep it in isolation. Newcastle, they're doing nothing different. Liverpool and Isak are doing nothing different to what Wirtz and Brentford are doing. They're now they're now going after Larson, who's in a team that we already know Wolves are in a relegation battle this year. They're trying to they're probably their one last hope of scoring goals. But Newcastle United are not sitting there and going, oh, it's probably unkind of us to destabilize them and to mess up their kind of flow and to distract the player in the early stages of the season, because Newcastle have no obligation to Wolverhampton Wanderers. They have an obligation to their fans. So I understand why people are annoyed at the player. And this scenario, I do agree with you, LB, it's cost them points. I actually think they win both those opening games. I watched both of their matches. Mm-hmm. I think they were better than Liverpool in large parts yesterday. A proper striker on the pitch. Forget Isak, who's amazing. A proper striker on the pitch. That Anthony Gordon header goes in from a real striker. And I think a striker just gives you a very different presence. It also gives them more firepower. And maybe one of the starting front three last night comes on from the bench. I also think they don't go into the game as ferocious. I think the way Newcastle went in to the game, there's a lot of big accounts and a lot of things showing. Even some of the Newcastle official content was Joe Linton smashing into Liverpool players. And it was just the one thing I'm gutted I didn't do yesterday was put a bet on there being a Newcastle red card, because it actually felt inevitable that someone was going to get sent off in that game with the way every tackle was being cheered. And they just slightly got that wrong. One thing I would say is that the team with 1 point from 2 games, I've flip-flopped on this load this summer, and I wanted to admit that I've flip-flopped on this. Well, I don't think Newcastle are in any trouble when Isak leaves as long as they bring in strikers. You add Wirtz and Larson to this team, they've got every chance of Champions League qualification again. They've got every chance of picking up another trophy, because they looked what Isak has done, I think, is galvanized them. The one thing they just haven't had is someone to put the ball in the back of the net. And there's a really interesting statistic actually that's going around. If you look at the teams in the bottom 5, actually include Newcastle, bottom 6 of the Premier League, 3 of them, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton, are 3 of the best teams in the league at creating chances and XG this season, but their conversion rate shit. The other 3 in the bottom 6 haven't created anything and haven't scored. And although midfields and goalkeepers, all this matters, putting the ball in the back of the net is quintessentially it's sort of underrated as the most important thing. And there's a lot of debate in United fan base at the minute. Oh, we need Belieber. We've got to get rid of Bruno. None of that stuff is not true. But I think we're over-egging the fact that against Arsenal, if we take our chances, against Fulham, we should have scored 3 goals in the first half. You win those games, the narrative is completely and utterly different in those things. And I think Newcastle are going to be okay. I just think they haven't. And it's really, their press has wound me up, because they keep, every few days, you must have all seen the same headlines as me. Newcastle are firm, he is not for sale. But then just this morning, all those same outlets went, the owners of Newcastle were going to the player's house to ask him a few questions so they can finally make a definitive decision on what to do. Hang on. You've been telling your supporters for 4 months. They've already made a definitive decision that he's not for sale. And I think that the indecision internally, I think, has caused some of this, because they should have actually made their mind up.
I don't think it was an indecision. I think they've been misleading the fans. And I think, listen, Newcastle fans are not going to turn on their owners or like whatever, but I do think that they've misled the Newcastle fans, because, like you say, they've been telling everybody for months. Yeah, I've been speaking to Newcastle fans on various different shows. I remember going back 4 or 5 months, and it's to talk about Isak. Say, oh, do you think Isak will leave this summer? No, we've been told 100% he's not for sale. He will not be sold. Like, all right, sweet. Not be sold. And then all of a sudden, when the whole thing pops off, it's like, oh, well, we don't want to sell him, but if the price is right and we can get a replacement, then we will actually sell him. So I think for me, I think that the Newcastle, whoever's been telling the Newcastle journalists that he's not for sale has made this situation worse, because he has been for sale the whole time. But if you meet the conditions, which they've not met.
Yeah, which I agree with. Go on, mate.
Everyone really is for sale, though, aren't they? Everyone's got a price. You know, it might be a ridiculously high price, but everyone's got that little price. And Newcastle, obviously, for Isak, theirs hasn't been met yet. But I wanted to make a little point where you were saying, obviously, and I agree with you as well, Tel. You were saying about, they have tried bringing in reinforcements up top, strikers. But have they tried hard enough? And by that, I mean, you mentioned like a Visa and a Mateta. I know hindsight, wonderful thing, absolutely wonderful thing. But they're probably going to get 20, 30 million over Isak's evaluation. He's not worth 130 million. He just ain't. It's as simple as that. Neither is Wisa worth 60 or 70. But if you'd have slammed the money down there, knowing that you're going to get a lot of money back, if you'd have just gone to Brentford, there's 60 million, 70 million, give him, hurry up, come on. He's ours, sign on the deal. All of this fuss is sort of over. So
no,
I think they could have.
Agree. I do agree with that. I think that, but they've created a rod for their own back.
Yeah.
In the sense of,
I get it.
they keep saying they keep saying 110 million pound cash bid up front, no installments, is embarrassing. We want 150, but then they're literally mimicking the same process. Brentford keep saying we want 60 million for Wissa. They keep going, there's 30, there's 35, there's 40. Wolves are saying he isn't for sale, but they have released via some outlets 75 million would probably make them change their minds. Yet they've offered a maximum of 50. This is the part that I do find hilarious, is that you keep telling your fans he's not for sale unless the conditions are met, but these are our conditions and we won't budge. But yet in the same breath, you're bidding for players to replace him, but you're not quite bidding enough. Yeah. And it is frustrating for the fans. And I feel sorry for the Newcastle fans, because I think your club should have just at some point, there's another, boys know I care about the price teams pay. I think paying the least amount of money possible shows great practice. Your club, City LB, I think have been one of the best in the last decade at getting players, selling players at a massive price and probably buying individuals for less than we all think you're going to. You've been very good at it. But there are times where you've just got to pay, or you've just got to accept what's coming in, because because you've got to go and buy. And Man United, look, we've waited this summer, and I have the same energy for my owners. Yes, we didn't want to sell lots of players at a loss, but the risk is that it was all going to happen too late, and we wouldn't then end up buying enough players. And that's happening to Ruben, and that's happening to the squad. That's an issue of legacy issues that have partly created that. The only difference that I see is that our current owners didn't put the likes of Anthony and Sancho on £500,000 a week between them to make them almost impossible to sell. Interestingly, we only told Rasmus 10 days ago, you got to go. And we've been able to find him a deal where we're actually going to get more money for him than Rashford, which is crazy. But it's because Rashford's on stupid money and clubs don't want to pay the fee and the salary to him. So, this is where you've just got to be careful as a football club. And I don't think it's going to ruin Newcastle's season. But imagine they get to the end of it and they end up sixth. Say top five gets you Champions League again, and they finish sixth by a couple of points. You look at these opening couple of games, had they have had those strikers, could have been very, very different. But I did want to ask you guys about last night very quickly before we move on. What did you guys make of Wirtz? And the reason I'm bringing Wirtz up is because all of us have had £100 million players in our team, and not every game, every warm-up session, every tweet they make, every time they fart in public, it was reported on and it was discussed. And is it good enough? What have you made of Wirtz in the first couple of games?
Well, I don't think he's played well in either of the two games. I don't think he's got on the ball enough in either of the two games. I'm hesitant to cook him just yet, because I do think he will eventually find his way into the team and start cooking. But I think he might just need a little bit of time to settle down. But yeah, I mean, he's not been great the first two games. That's a fact. You can't disagree with that. But I'm not going to cook the guy yet, because I think he will cook eventually. Yeah, I think the thing is, yeah, because he's got the talent, right? When you have the talent, like, even if he doesn't play well, he'll have moments in a game where he just does something. Do you know what I mean? So I do think eventually he will click into gear. I think he just needs a little bit of time to figure out the pace of the Premier League, figure out the style of play. He's with new teammates and that. And I think eventually I think he'll be fucking sick, mate, in this league. I honestly do. But first two games, he has been poor. Like, he didn't even get on a ball hardly any time yesterday. Like, I hardly remember him touching the ball. So, yeah, he's not been great in the first two. He has ghosted a little bit. But I still think that he will cook. You know what I mean? Ask me that question in another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And if he's still not cooking, then maybe I'll be a little bit more shameless about it. But right now, yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, man. Just for the moment.
I'm copy and paste, LB, man. I'm a little bit dubious as well, but to just go that little bit too soon, the second you start bad mouthing him, all of a sudden he puts in blockbuster performance after blockbuster performance. So yeah, I'm the same, mate. I'm just sort of keeping it quiet on him just for a little minute. Do you know what I mean? But you're right on your analysis. For the two games, he just hasn't really done anything. He ain't done much, for blockbuster signing, your big number 10 come in with big fanfare. You know, the Liverpool fans probably would have expected, you know, he'd have come in and had a majestic performance in one of the games or done something, you know, had a good 8 or 9 out of 10 performance, but he just hasn't done it yet. That's not to say he won't ever do it. I mean, like LB said, he's a very, very, very talented player. And most of the time that shines through. And I do expect it. It's only a matter of time to shine through for Liverpool.
I agree.
Slot the manager's too good to not be able to get the best out of him. The Liverpool team's good. Very good Liverpool team. And I mean, the player himself, I mean, he's fantastic. So I think it's a case of when, not if. Florian.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, he hasn't been good. I think he looks a bit weak for the league so far, but that's fixable. You know, bit of creatine if pros are allowed to take that, but yeah, a bit of protein shake, bit more steak, a few more weights, and he'll be all right. Like he probably needs to put on 4 or 5 kilo of muscle for the Premier League, but it's also learning it. At the end of the day, not everybody comes in and hits the ground running. You know, some players take that little bit. Look at Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea, looking more and more a Premier League player. But he took him good. I know that Chelsea fans still speak about that first 4 or 5 months. He was amazing. I don't buy it. I feel his first 9 to 12 months in the Premier League, I thought he looked average. The last 9 months or so, I think he's looked a phenomenal football player. And it takes a little bit of time, really. But we'll see what happens rest of the window with Liverpool. We'll be keeping our eyes firmly on that one. Viewers, hit the like and the share button, please. City LB. I did actually try calling you when you were live streaming on Saturday. You didn't answer. But
bro, I was
I
just declined a call. I was like, I can't speak to anyone right now.
That was it. I did ring it. It rung once, went blip. I thought I'd try again, went blip. I was like, I won't bother the man again. But look, Liverpool Spurs were good. You know, we spoke a lot about them yesterday on the Top 6 show, but I made a claim, and I want to throw this claim out to you. That I didn't say City are in crisis. I said, but if Pep, either tactically or via the transfer window, doesn't sort the defensive line out, you could be in trouble this year, because Wolves exploited you early by knocking those long balls like diagonally across the channels, but Spurs just did it all day. Is it a concern for you that this could be your weakness again this year?
Yeah, I mean, our defense is still our main weakness, right? I don't think that's actually why we lost the game. I think the reason we lost the game was because of the midfield. I thought the midfield was not the right midfield to pick. But on the defense, we just have no pace in that back line, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we just have no pace. Like, and people will go, well, you've played high line for the last 9 years, so what's the problem? Yeah, we did. Who played at right back? Was he fast? Was he one of the fastest players in the Premier League? Was he? Is he arguably the best Premier League right back of all time? Yeah. Now who've you got? Rico Lewis and Matthias Nunes. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't have pace in the back line. You know, you're playing Diaz, not got any pace. You're playing Stones, not got any pace. And then Ake come on, not got any pace. So for me, yeah, I got to get Abdelkadir Huzanov in the team, man. Now, a lot of people laugh because, people saw what he did against Chelsea last season and just think he's shit. But I watched every single City game. Yeah, I mean, after that Chelsea game, he was probably our best defender.
Yeah,
he was actually really, really good. The problem is that not everybody watches every City game. They just remember the mistake that he made against Chelsea and thinks he's shit. I think he's better than Ruben Diaz.
Comments like this.
Because, and I get it. They don't watch every City game, so they just think he's dog shit because he made one mistake. He's better than Diaz. He's faster than Diaz. He's better in the air than Diaz. He's better on the ball than Diaz. This is all facts. It's undisputable from anybody that's watched him last season. Yeah, and he'll help us a lot defensively when the ball's put in behind because he's rapid, mate. Yeah, so I do think it's a problem, but I don't think he's going to put him in there. I think he's going to stick with Diaz and Gvardiol and Stones and that. We're good defenders, but when you're playing on the halfway line and the ball's put in behind, see you later. You're done. You're finished. You're finished.
Is that good enough, though, from Guardiola, LB? To notice that there's such a deficiency in terms of pace, and when you're playing against pacey forwards, not put on a pacey centre-back?
Well, I don't think so. And the thing is, I don't even think Ruben Diaz has been playing well for the last 2 years. Yeah, I said it 2 years ago. Yeah, when we won the league, I don't think he had a good season. Yeah, and then last year, he didn't have a good season. So I don't think he's been playing that good. It's not like he's playing mint, but it's just not quick. So no, I think he needs to change it up, man. That's not the reason we lost the game. For me, the reason we lost the game was the midfield. I think the midfield that he selected was not the right midfield. In my preview, I said stick with the midfield that we played against Wolves. Keep everything nice and tight. Don't open it up. You know what I mean? If you actually deep what happened, yeah, we played a more solid midfield against Wolves than we did against Spurs. Because against Wolves, we played Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva, and Reinders. Yeah. And Bernardo Silva helped Nico Gonzalez in that game. And Nico Gonzalez had probably one of his best games for City against Wolves. And then against Spurs, Pep just went, all right, go on, Nico, do it on your own. Because I'm playing Reinders and Cherky, we're going to bomb forward. So now you're on your own. It's just like, what are you doing? So he completely opened up our midfield. We didn't have as much control. We didn't look as solid in midfield. Yeah, which is where fundamentally I think the game was lost. Now, you can look at other things that happened, like our lack of clinicalness at the top end. Yeah, you spoke about it before, about the chances, Terry, about the Newcastle lad. Well, look at the chance that Marmoush had. That's a 0-0. He scores that. He's got to score that goal, Marmoush. You know what I mean? They go down the other end and score literally within minutes. Yeah, look at Newcastle yesterday. Had chances. Liverpool go down the other end and score. Like, you've got to take your chances at this level, man. You cannot miss golden opportunities. Haaland, free header from 5 yards out. Heads it over the bar. Yeah. Haaland as wins the ball. He can shoot. He can pass it to Cherky. The pass is bad. That's 3 golden opportunities that we should have took. All 3 of those chances that I've just mentioned there should have been goals. The Marmoush chance, the Haaland header, and the one where Haaland dispossessed Van der Ven. And then he could have shot, but he passed it to Cherky. Right. So even though we didn't even play badly, even though we did play badly, because I didn't think we played well at all, we still had 3 golden opportunities and we didn't finish them. Yeah. Then obviously the first goal, not great. Yeah. I don't think it was like a shambles, the first goal, but it's not great, really. And then the second goal, see you later, you're finished. The game's finished. 2-0. As soon as that second goal went in, man, I was so deflated because here's a difference, right? A couple of years ago, when we had the likes of Mahrez, my baller, Sterling, Gundogan in his prime, Kevin De Bruyne in his prime. When my team went 2-0 down, I still backed us to not just draw, I backed us to win the game at 2-0 down. And in fact, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 years ago, there was like, City went like 2-0 down in like 10 games in the season and won them all or something. Like, it was a mad stat going around about 2-3 years ago. I don't know if you remember.
One of them to Spurs, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of them was to Spurs. We won 4-2. And I backed my team, man. I backed my team then. And I'm now, like, when my team goes 1-0 down or 2-0 down, I'm looking at my team and I'm thinking, who's scoring here?
It's crazy you say that, right? So again, some early season facts for us. Newcastle, Man United, and City have all touched the box in the opponent's box the most in the league. And I'm going to quote Pep here because I think we would all just agree Pep is a serial winner, one of the greatest managers of all time. And I've read some of his books and everything. And he speaks about how the system gets the ball to the edge of the box or into the box. It's then for the players to create the chances and score. To have that ball touches in the opponent's box, 62 touches of the ball in the opponent's box. And that wasn't all just in that Wolves game. You had the ball very regularly in the Spurs box, especially in the first half. And then in that first 15 minutes of the second half, how you didn't score is beyond me. And I understand the midfield wasn't as strong. Definitely the high line defensively caused the problem. But the second goal had nothing to do with the high line. The second goal was playing out from the back and being caught on it. But you still should have scored goals. And I think that for me is something that, every goal is going to matter. You look at Liverpool yesterday, they only had 4 shots in the whole game, 3 on target. They won 3-2. That clinical edge is why they've got 6 points from. I mean, you actually think about Liverpool. Liverpool probably haven't played defensively anyway that much better than City in the opening 2 games. They've
Canary's been all over the gaff, haven't they?
Yeah, but what they've done is scored goals at the other end, and it's a very different situation with Man United because we've been crap and we've got to sort out consistent performances. But when we're looking at the better teams, what the difference between Liverpool and Arsenal so far? Well, actually, Arsenal have been far more balanced, although they weren't very good in the first game and probably should have conceded. But it was great saves and great defending that stopped them from conceding those goals. Great blocks, great goalkeeper saves, etc. But yeah, you are right with City. It's something I didn't think about till you started saying it, and I started looking at some of the facts here. That those lack of chances being created do change football. It's being converted. They change football matches, and I don't know why. With maybe it's younger football fans, maybe it's the influence of the media being crap at this now. But goals are so important. Yes, defenses win your titles, as Fergie said, but it's goals that win your games. And if you're not scoring, what are you doing?
Yeah. Just
Well
quickly as
enough.
well, I want to ask LB, are you a little bit worried about that goalkeeping department? You obviously mentioned the defence and all that, but Trafford was a worry. I was watching him and I was thinking, wow, man, he needs to not be so nervy.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, it's not great, is it? I mean, we're about to go into
Nah.
the third game of the season, and I have no idea who my number one goalkeeper is going to be.
Yeah.
So that you can't glaze that. That's poor. How can a club be going into the third game of the season, and I have no idea who my goalkeeper is going to be? Is it going to be Trafford? Is it going to be Edison? Is it going to be Donnarumma? Well, that's just not good. Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, I actually blame Pep on this personally. I felt that the way he set the team up was wrong. I think we were asking for trouble with the way we were playing. I say this on my stream, but I've seen football for 20 years. Some of you guys have watched it for longer than that. This is a 22-year-old goalkeeper who's making his Premier League home debut against a top 6 side in which always beats us. And we're asking him to play out these mad risky passes on the edge of the box. Yeah. I wasn't surprised one little bit. I seen him make an error against Wolves, didn't get punished. I seen him make an error in pre-season against Palmeiras, didn't get punished. I was not surprised in the slightest. Yeah. I think for me, I think Pep set the team up wrong, man, in the way he set the team up. I think we should have been going direct a lot more. Get the ball away from the goalkeeper. Yeah. Let's just get some points on the board. Yeah, let's get some wins on the board. Let him settle down. Let him not get nervous. First couple of games, he's 22 years old. Of course he's going to be nervous. And we're asking him to pass out on the edge of the box to players who are either out of form or not match fit. Yeah. So this is why for me, Trafford has to hold the L. Of course he does. It's his mistake. And he'll pay the price because if we sign Donnarumma will be number one. Or if Edison stays, he'll be number one. But I just think Pep should have set the team up differently, man. If it was me, I would have been going along a lot more.
But on Donnarumma, I have to say this. I think me and you are the only two that I've heard say this. There's probably other people that share this. Maybe Aaron does. I'm seeing people ridicule the idea of Donnarumma to City. Bad with his feet. I don't know how good he is. He's overpriced. Look, Man United can't afford him. I get that. In fact, I think he's more rejected us for City than us not being able to afford him. I don't understand, and I'm going to call it slander. It is slanderous. And in the current Britain that we're living in, things that you tweet online can get you in prison. I think talking about Donnarumma being a shit option for City, I think that borders a hate crime towards football because the man is absolutely amazing. No, it does. Look, and I don't want to back City, but I've got to here. Oh, how are they going to play really good football with him at the back? I watched PSG for a whole year be the best footballing team in the world.
Yeah.
And do you know what? The mistake Trafford made with the ball at his feet the other day, it wasn't the pass that was bad. It was the decision to pass the ball then that was the issue.
Yeah, it was the actual decision.
And there will be some mistakes. All goalkeepers, even Alisson, the best in the world. Well, Edison, when he's the best in the world with the ball at his feet. Alisson's very good with the ball at his feet and the best overall keeper. But I would say at least 3 or 4 times a year, minimum, they pass the ball to the wrong player or make the wrong decision and either concede a chance. So that's going to happen a little bit with Donnarumma. But overall, it's just, you guys need it. Like, you look at, again, David Ray in the last 18 months has developed into one of the best goalies in the league. Alisson's one of the best goalkeepers in the league. And I'm nitpicking here. It's the reason why I don't think Chelsea can win the Premier League is because they've got Sanchez in goal. And I think that if the worst case scenario happens and Edison ends up leaving and you go, right, we're giving this season to Trafford, it's going to be like the season that we tried to give the starting berth to Ben Foster. It's going to, thankfully, when we did that, Van der Sar was still at the club. He only had an injury and we could bring him back in. But there's no way we didn't actually win the league that year. I think it may have been it wasn't the Aguero year. City beat us to the league by a singular point. But it was the first 3 or 4 games of the bloody season with Ben Foster where we got dropped those bloody points. So it's going to matter. I just think that's a big.
On that whole point about Donnarumma, yeah, it's like, I think it's fair to be a bit balanced here and say I am quite surprised that Pep is making a move for Donnarumma, given that Donnarumma isn't like an Edison. Yeah. However, fundamentally, my opinion has changed over the last 12 months about this. I've always been City need an Edison style. City need an Edison style. City need an Edison style. It's so integral to the way we play. We must have an Edison style goalkeeper. It's got to be. He's good on the ball. Yeah, that's got to be the priority. Yeah. Now, obviously, he can't just be completely dog shit. Yeah, but keep the ball out. But he's got to be able to play out from the back. However, I've now fundamentally changed my opinion on that to a degree because of what I saw from PSG. PSG just won the treble. Yeah, And then they play it down by going, it's a French league. All right, and they won the Champions League with Donnarumma in net. Yeah, and they was playing out from the back quite a lot. Yeah, I watched every single PSG knockout game. Yeah, they were playing out from the back quite a lot. And that fundamentally, yeah, you look at the Arsenal game, yeah, look at that save he made on Odegaard. Unbelievable save, man. Odegaard hits the edge of the box, low, hard, bottom corner. And this guy, yeah, who's lanky, manages to get himself all the way down and gets a mad stop on it. Yeah, I was watching Real Madrid. Bro, I was watching Real Madrid the other day, yeah, against Oviedo. You should have seen this Courtois save, mate. Yeah, this guy gets the ball on the left-hand side, hits it low and hard, left foot, bottom corner. Somehow, Courtois gets his hand down and saves it. Bro, I'm just like, that's such a... I'm pretty sure that was at 1-0 as well. So that would have been it. That would have been an equalising goal. And then, you know, they go down the other end and score. They have Vinny Jr., I'm sure, come down the other end and score. I'm just like, bro, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, football has eras. And I think Ederson was... Yeah, I agree, Rob. Facts. Ederson for us in this previous era that we just had was 100% the best goalkeeper for us. However, I think the era is changing where our defense is no longer as good as it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And it's now a weaker defense. And when you've got a weaker defense, I think you have to prioritize a better shot stopper.
Do you know
absolutely.
What as well?
Sorry, go on, Aaron. Go on, mate. Go on, bro.
Do you know what as well? I think sometimes you can just look at it quite black and white. Very simply, will Donnarumma save you more points over the course of the season than Trafford? I think the answer is yes. You know, yeah, granted, he might not be as good as his feet, but I mean, you can't keep having that Trafford making mistakes, embedding himself into the league, and it taking 6 or 7 weeks or 8 months or whatever.
That's where I think for me, though, Pep should set the team up differently and just say, right, first couple of weeks, I don't want this goalkeeper making any mistakes. I know he's nervous. I can tell he's nervous. I can see him in training. And even if I can't see that he's nervous in training, yeah, I've been in football 40 years. He's a 22-year-old trying to impress. Yeah, he's probably prone to making an error. Right, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. First 3, 4, 5 games, yeah, I'm not going to say go long every single time, but I'm going to tell the goalkeeper, any pressure on any of the players that you're going to pass the ball to, see that 6'5" guy up there, Haaland, just smack it to him. And if we lose the ball, don't worry, I'm not going to go sick at you. What I don't want you to do is gift the opposition a goal. But he was playing out from the back, and then he gives the opposition a goal. And that's for me why I think personally, it was on Pep. Like, you know what I mean? I think the way we set up was just very naive.
Yeah, I think football's also changed again. Yeah, you remember maybe 10, 15 years ago having an Ozil Mata-esque number 10, David Silva. That was it. If you didn't have that, you were in trouble. Then there was this marauding fullbacks, Trents, Cancelos. I'm going to forget names. You know, you had to have an attacking fullback. Having someone that was good defensively was seen as old school. That's kind of died a death now to a point where the last couple of years, people like Pep and Arteta have been playing 4 centre backs as their defenders, and Pep was winning league titles with it as an example. We've now gone through a phase where, and Pep spoke on this so regularly, and it's great that Pep has, because I think that it gives it the validity. If a manager like Ten Hag says it, everyone goes, he doesn't know what he's talking about, even though in reality they know a lot more about football than we all do. But football's changing. It's become a very direct sport again. And if it's direct, you don't need your back line or your goalkeeper to be as good as Ederson was at his best, because you're trying to get the ball from back to front a lot quicker. There's a lot more balls into the midfield than balls over the top. I mean, United should have scored against Fulham this way. That ball over the top from Bayern there, it's a good long ball, but that's what the old-fashioned goalkeepers used to do, to knock it into those spaces. That's become a way of scoring goals. Liverpool have actually been doing it for years. How many times have Liverpool knocked the ball long to Mo Salah? And
if you think about it, they've got arguably, the best of both worlds, because they've got a guy in net who's, for me, is probably second best goalkeeper in the world, who keeps the ball at the back of the net in Alisson. And then they've got a ridiculous guy up front called Mo Salah. So they've got a guy who spams goals, and they've got a keeper in net who keeps the ball out the net. It's a surprise that they've not won more than they have, considering that, you know, you're looking at both ends of the pitch, and they've got top three.
The reason they didn't win more, though, is just because you've had a goalkeeper that could do the same thing, and you've had Haalands and KDBs. All that's happened really is Ederson doesn't want to be there anymore. And if he was 100% dedicated to City and said, I just don't want to be nowhere else, I don't even think this would be an issue in itself. But yeah, I think the goal. Listen, I still think you might need another attacker if Savinho goals. But I do think. I mean, Donnarumma has agreed personal terms. I think you'll get that deal done. To be fair, that'll be a bit of a game changer for you guys in terms of the title race. This year says Pep got it right. Clinical, difference conversion. What?
Conversation. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
If the conversion, if the clinical, okay. So if you were clinical, Pep got it right. If you were clinical, different conversation. Sorry.
Which is fair. Is I mean, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I still think again though. I still think you've got to look at you can still look at the holes in your team when you're winning and look to improve them. I think that's fair. We'll come back to Chelsea in a minute. We'll come to the Arsenal super chat in a minute. This was back when we were on the Liverpool conversation, where it says Ekatike mentioned it. 60 minutes in his first game, he barely felt the cramps. I do think it's an adjustment period. I worry about Frimpong though. They'll be okay. It always takes an adjustment when you go to new leagues for some players. Others, can do a Scott McTominay and look 10 times better and get nominated for a fucking Ballon d'Or. It can work both ways. I just wouldn't be. But there was a lot of questions, even for Liverpool at the beginning of in the summer, where people were saying, could they take them? This idea they're going to run away with the league. We had a lot of people come on our phone-in shows and say, well, they could, but it also might take their new signing 6 months to settle. And in that period, you could not drop enough points to be out of the title race, but you could keep it open. It might be next season where this Liverpool group look absolutely unbeatable, although they are 2 wins from 2. But viewers, listen, do us a big favor, please, and hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And please get yourself subscribing to the Terrace. In other news, obviously we've seen today, LB, because I love to go to you first when it comes to talking about this club, because it always cheers me up. But Chelsea have made an approach today for Barcelona's Lopez, seemingly an alternative to that of Xavi Simons, a deal that has just dragged now for weeks, which is quite unlike Chelsea. That being said, Jacob Steinberg has just reported that they're now willing to pay £35 million for Garnacho. So they've upped their offer of 25 million to 35. There's a belief they'll go as high as 40, which United are expecting to report. He's also just claimed that Chelsea have a higher desire to bring in a winger, meaning Garnacho is seen as a more of a priority than Xavi Simons or Lopez of Barcelona before they move forward, as they need to sell Nkunku before the 10s would come in, or the attacking midfielders would come in. What do you make of this approach from Chelsea? Obviously, a very good game for them against West Ham at the weekend. They scored lots of goals, but prioritizing Garnacho over Lopez or Xavi, is this the right move by Chelsea?
Well, not Garnacho. No. I don't understand this signing. If they go and get Garnacho, again, it's just like Chelsea are not a bad team, as I've said plenty of times, but I just don't think they've got anywhere near enough to be in a title race, which I've said many, many times. Yeah, and going out in Garnacho is going to do absolutely nothing to change my opinion on that. Yeah, they need proven players. They've got so many young players in there, so many players that are developing. They need they need proven players in that team that can drag the experience up. You're looking around Esteval, Delap, Pedro, yeah, and then you go back line as well. Like, a lot of these players, mate, like have either not won anything or just are extremely young. Even the Caicedos of this world, who are fantastic player, how much have they actually won? So, yeah, I just don't understand this, man. It's just like, you can sign players that are over the age of 24. Like, do they know that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why do they just always go for these young players? I just don't understand it, man. Like, they're not a bad team, Chelsea, but they're not gonna win the league or be in a title race by signing Garnacho. Yeah. They've got a decent team. They're going to be top 5, which I've said. But people who think they're going to be in a title race, no chance. No way are they in a title race, mate. Yeah, it's not happening because they signed too many of these type of players. And if they just went out and signed why don't they go get Rodrigo? Why don't they go get Rodrigo? Go put 100 million down on the table, get Rodrigo. They're the type of signings that they should be making. And then all of a sudden, I'll be going, fucking hell, you know what? Let me reconsider. But they'll go and get Garnacho, and you expect me to sit here and say, no, they're in a title race. Not happening, mate. Yeah? So go sign Garnacho, man. But it ain't changing my opinion. Not good enough to be in a title race. Yeah, not good enough. They're a good team. They'll finish top 5. I think they'll finish top 5 comfortably. Yeah, but nowhere near the title race. I just don't see it. They've not got enough like proven top quality players that have done it day in, day out for years. That's where
Aaron,
they went wrong.
Yeah.
Aaron, this comment here from generic user says stockpiling players for future sale profits. This is Chelsea's model now. See RB Leipzig. Do you think at this stage of Chelsea's sort of rebuild and squad build, do you think this is the best use of another 35, 40 million in a player that they're just potentially stockpiling to sell at a profit in 2 years' time? Or there's talk they've done that with 2 or 3 players this summer. Should they have put all of that money, say 100 million combined, into a world-class goalie and a world-class centre-back? Is that where it should go? Or do you think that Chelsea fans defending the model are right?
Well, look, the model has had obviously its positives. You know, they're able to get their PSR thing all well and good. They're selling well, but there's got to come a point where enough's enough. Now, I totally appreciate, that they are, if you're going to go for a league title, which they probably would have thought that they should be doing, you need all of these other little players in there are all about a centre back and a goalkeeper. I don't mind if you go and get 20 million here, 20 million there, but make sure you've got the core of your window done. They've got young kids in again. I totally agree with LB. You're looking at Chelsea again, and because they're signing these young, unknown, proven players, the Garnachos are coming in for God knows how much money. You're looking at them and you're not taking them serious again. If they'd had, what's his name, Donnarumma walking through the door and a proper centre-back, all of a sudden you're looking at Chelsea and going, hang on a minute. Yeah. They've shored their defence right up. That goalkeeper is a major problem for Chelsea. They haven't got that proper John Terry-esque sort of centre-back to lead and control that defence. They was to have got them two in the summer.
Well, they're deluding themselves, Aaron. They were telling one guy last week was telling me that he'd rather have Sanchez in net than Donnarumma.
Oh, it's nonsense.
That's something not
That's
right,
nonsense.
man. That's something not
Never
right,
had something
man.
so ridiculous in my life.
I don't know what's happened to the Chelsea fans, man. They used to be the most ruthless fan base in the country, and it worked. They used to win loads. I'm sure they were the most successful country up there.
Man, how quick it goes, LB. Man, how quick it goes.
It's crazy,
that
man.
mentality.
It's scary, isn't it? It's scary how quickly you just lose it, man. You know what I'm saying?
They had Real Madrid mentality, bruv, under Abramovich. 100%. Ruthless. Get me the best. I don't care who or how we get them. Get me the best. We'll win titles. And if you ain't good enough, off your pop. Tala, piss off. Go away. You're not good enough. Now it's just mediocre. I do totally get that, you do also need to plan for the future. Like I said, I'm not totally writing off their model. But, you've got to be putting in the ready-made proven players, the world-class players. You've got to have that mix. Otherwise, what you just a selling team? What are they now? There's got to come a point where they've spent all of this money over a set period of time, and now it's time to win something.
I think they're going to end up being the next Arsenal, and we're going to be in phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4. Because if your plan is just to continue to buy young players and develop them, then ultimately you're basically waiting for all the players to hit the prime, or at least a core 5, 6, 7, 8 players to all hit the prime, which means you're going to be waiting year after year after year, and it's going to become, next year is going to be the year. Phase 5, you know what I mean? Unless they change the model.
You're a fancy Southampton. Get all these nice little players and sell them. That's all you are. Yeah. You're a blue Southampton. Do you know what I mean? There's got to come a period. There's got to come a period. And I see a couple of people saying, they don't know what they're talking about Chelsea. That's fine. Keep doing your model. You won't win anything because you need proven players. You're not going to close the gap to Liverpool's and Manchester City's if you keep buying 16-year-old Brazilian kids and Garnachos. I can promise you that. If you want to close that bridge from 6th to 5th to 1st, Garnacho and all the crap ain't it.
The fans think that this is the right process. So they're happy to go along with it. But you're telling me when Liverpool are signing Wirtz, try to get Isak, and you're signing Garnacho, I meant to sit here and think you're going to be in a title race. Have a word, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I think Chelsea's current squad is a decent squad. And like I said, I think they'll get top 5 comfortably. But I look at the signings and I'm not seeing signings that are going to push them to a title. I'm signing Estavals, Delaps, Pedros, good players. Probably going to be really good players in a few years. But are they going to come in and win you a title? No. On top of that, you try to sign Garnacho. Yeah, why you not sign Eze? Yeah, why not go try sign Wirtz? Why not go try sign Isak?
Rodrigo.
It's just constant. It's just they don't want to spend the big money, so they're just spending all the 30, 40 millions and going getting all the young players, and they're going to hope and pray that in a few years' time, that all the players will all develop at the same rate, and in like 2027, 2028, they'll be ready to go for the league. Well, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And even if it does, you basically accepting that you're doing nothing for the next 2 years anyway.
Yeah. If you're telling me, sorry, 1 second.
Go on.
Yeah, that's it. If any Chelsea fan in this chat can sit with a straight face and tell me not signing ready-made established players and on top of that, keeping crap Sanchez in goal, signing Garnacho, if you're telling me that that's the same standards as the Abramovich years, which, by the way, I'd never liked Chelsea, but I at least had appreciation and respect for what they done. They were ruthless winners. This ain't winning regime. You know, they've won a couple of cups here and there, but you're not telling me that Garnacho is going to be the final piece of a Premier League, Champions League winning puzzle. Come off it, man. If anyone can sit there and talk to me like that with a straight face in the chat, you're a helmet, man. Like, come on. It's Sanchez. The keeper's shit. He's crap. Come on, what are you doing here? Garnacho. Oh, come off it. Let's proper talk football here. Do you know what I mean? That's not.
The centre-back options are poor. The centre-back options are poor, man. Do you know what I mean? They are. Like Tosin and Trevor. You know what I'm saying? That's they need to go out there and buy a big money centre-back, man. I'm surprised they're not all in for Gueye.
Yeah.
Didn't he used to be in their academy as well? Like 30 million, apparently, they say you can potentially get him for. Like, why don't they go and get Mark Gueye or something? Yeah, you're not gonna. I don't really understand what these Chelsea fans are seeing that I'm not seeing. You've got Sanchez in there. You've got Trevor Chalobah and Tosin. You're gonna go buy Garnacho, and you have any players over the age of 25? And I'm expected to sit here and think they're gonna be a title race. No chance. Absolutely no chance.
So let me ask you guys a question. Playing devil's advocate here. They've just become world champions by beating Paris Saint-Germain in the final. They won 2 trophies last season because I think the World Club Cups classified as last season. They got into the top 4 when most people predicted that they wouldn't. They've started this season well. You know, the draw against Palace, fair enough, but battered West Ham away from home at the weekend. Does that not show progression? When I'm talking about when their fans say, but we're world champions, we've just won the world championship. Why are we being written off from winning major trophies? Does that not prove they can win the Champions League this year as an example?
No chance.
The thing is, I actually said it's hard making that step up from a 4th or a 3rd to a 1st, from a Conference League to a Champions League. That's a massive step up, massive step up in mentality, in quality, in everything. If you're telling me Garnacho is bridging that gap, then mate, play netball or follow something like that, because football ain't for you, man. Garnacho is poor. The goalkeeper, poor. You need a centre-back. We all know it. I don't watch Chelsea all the time, but everyone in their nan knows you need a keeper, you need a centre-back, and you need more established players, especially maybe one of Rodrigo in that forward line. Then I'm looking at Chelsea and going, wow, okay, they've definitely bridged the gap. They've got themselves, they've replaced a shitty goalkeeper. They've got themselves a leader at centre-back, and now they've got themselves a good winger. Okay, time to take Chelsea a bit more seriously. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, though, the thing is, though, we're so wrong. Yeah, why aren't Chelsea fans saying no? We are going to win the league. I don't see any Chelsea fans actually saying we are going to win the league. They all just say, "Oh, we're going to be involved in the race." Well, hang on a minute. If you're saying that Garnacho's fine, that you don't need a goalkeeper, you don't need any centre backs, is what I'm seeing in the chat here. Why don't you say with Chelsea you're going to win the league? You're not going to win the league, man. Yeah, Aaron's spot on. Yeah, to go from 4th to title winners, the jump is mad. Yeah, and does João Pedro, Jamie Gittins, Joel Hatto, Liam Delap, Esteval, any of these players going to push them to the title? Not happening. Yeah, so they're a comfortable top 5 team, but they're nowhere near a title race team. And like I said last week, I'd be stunned if they're within 15 points whoever wins a title. Stunned.
We're a prime example, LB. We are, boys. Yeah. Arsenal were a prime example of that.
Guys, we've got a Chelsea fan who wants to come on and have his say on this. David, who's a Chelsea fan, is jumping on to have his say on this. You've triggered him. He messaged me for the link. He's a good guy, David. Comes on our shows a lot. David, hello, mate.
These two, the waffle, the hatred, the
What are you going to do? Come on and tell me that Sanchez is the bollocks, are you, mate?
Wait, hold on. No, wait.
Come on.
Let me put my point across, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I guarantee that LB I know for a fact because I watch Straight Facts. It's a good show. I don't know. I haven't watched you as much.
No worries,
but I know for a fact that both of you did not think I was going to be here by this time this year, last year. Neither of you thought. You guys were saying last year, this team can't even make top 5. They're terrible. All they're doing is signing youngsters, blah, 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 blah. That's the first thing. Now I'm here, right? And you're saying all I can do is 4th. You have acknowledged that the jump from going from 4th to 1st is huge, right? How am I now going to do that in one summer? Because even if I sign,
you haven't had one summer, really. If I sign
Donnarumma and I sign a world-class centre back, is my team even still good enough to win the league? Both of you, by the way you talk about my club, cannot say yes with chest. There is no way.
So have you only started spending this summer then? Have you been preparing for the last 5 years, spending billions of pounds trying to compete? But now all of that don't matter because
if you look at the way Chelsea have spent their money,
what have you been building to? What have you been building to?
Hold on.
What have you been building to? You're saying only 1 year. You haven't had 1 year.
Let him answer.
To act like my club hasn't improved season on season from when we brought in the new sporting directors is wrong, because we've literally we went 12th, we went 6th, then we've gone 4th. I mean, yeah, we finished 4th last year. So we've improved every single season, right? Every time people say, why are you signing youngsters? Most of those youngsters who make it in the first team squad have improved. Even the older players we got out of Todd Bowley, Cucurella as an example, he's improved as well. He's now a central part of the squad. We've got winners in that squad. You guys are acting like Cole Palmer's.
Okay, bro. Like, do you think you're going to be? Do you think you're in a title race this season?
Again, depending what you define as title race. If I go by everyone else's definition, then yes, I believe so.
What's their definition?
My definition is that you have to be statistically, you deserve to be there. So the stats have to back you up. If you're just there, like Nottingham Forest as an example, so people would say they were challenging or were around there last year. I personally didn't think so, but it depends when you put it. Because for me, analytically, they were never meant to be there. They had defended really well, and then they were kind of edging their luck a bit. You've got to be one of the best teams. You've got to be conceding not many chances. You've got to be creating a lot of chances. So you've got to be there, and then you've got to be within a certain range. 5 points with about 5 games to go. Then I'd say you're in a title race.
So you think with 5 games to go this season, you think Chelsea are going to be within 5 points over whoever's leading the race?
Currently, no, I do not.
So what do you disagree with me then?
No, but my point is, hold on. My point is that the way you guys talk is as if we don't know what we're doing and we're not building towards that. That you've acknowledged that the jump. Hold on. You've acknowledged that the jump from 4th to 1st is massive. Yeah. You've acknowledged that.
Yeah.
So to make
how
that
much
jump
have you spent in the time since this whole new process?
No, but again,
because you're trying to whittle it down to 1 year. When you're
it's not about.
You spent £2 billion the amount over the course of many years. That's what you've been building to. So you can't give it all the 1 year thing.
No, it's not about.
I do acknowledge the gaps. Take it from an Arsenal fan, bruv. Trust me, it takes a lot of correct signings, a lot of the manager recruitment, everything to get from 2nd, 5th, 4th, or whatever to 1st. So I actually am a little bit more qualified to look at Chelsea at the minute, whilst we haven't won nothing yet.
Yeah, but Bro's invaded the show and then doesn't even disagree with what we're saying.
No, I do disagree with what you're saying because you got.
You don't disagree. You just said
Southampton.
You just don't like what we've said. That's it. You come on to have a little cry because you don't like what we've said.
You said you said we're blue Southampton, and what has this squad even done? That's what you were saying. That's not true. We are not. How are we blue Southampton? You were saying we were becoming a selling club. That's not what is going on.
You're not buying the finished article, so obviously I was taking a little jab, but you're not buying ready-made established players to make an assault on the Premier League title. And you've had plenty of time and plenty of money to do it.
Players, you are therefore a selling club. I don't think that's how it works.
How old are you? Did you watch football under Abramovich? Where's your standards, bruv?
Where's
your standards? Did you watch football under Abramovich when you won things? Where's your standards, man? Are you the new type of Chelsea fan out there? Jesus Christ, I thought my fan base were bad.
Standards, It's about knowing where your club is and what we have to do to get back.
Yeah,
to
and
it.
you ain't it, bruv.
Hold
And
on,
signing Garnacho, having that bell-ending goal, ain't
Can I at
it
least make
either?
a point? Can I at least make my point before you interrupt? Abramovich, yes, had got us a lot of success, but to act like his way of doing things was working recently is not true. We won the Champions League, and that is true. But us winning that Champions League was not a true representation of what was going on at the club. And that's it's true. Man. Because if you don't have a model and a project that you are following, you will not get to where you're meant to be. Man City
was one of the most successful clubs in the country.
Man City did not just win one season. They had to build to allow Pep Guardiola to come in and win stuff.
But you were winning stuff themselves.
Go and watch. There's literally a podcast out there where Liverpool Sporting Director
said, Liverpool
Sporting Director literally came out and said, we had a rule of not signing people over a certain age, because why on earth would we sign these players when we could sign them younger and improve them? Mo Salah did not come in as a ready-made player.
So what are you saying? Are you saying Abramovich was a bad owner? Are you saying Abramovich was a bad owner at Chelsea?
Did not come in as a ready-made
What are you saying?
player.
I don't understand the point. Are you saying he was a bad owner?
I'm not saying he was a bad. I'm saying that
his model successful or not?
Hold on. I'm saying the way that he was doing it, where we were just hiring and firing and signing the best players, that doesn't work anymore. That does not work anymore.
How do you know that?
Because there was no foundation to it. Because every time
you was winning trophies.
The most successful team in 20 years.
The rate we were winning the bigger trophies.
In fairness to David, we had a lot of Chelsea fans. This isn't a modern day Chelsea thing. We had, the football. How do I say this without sounding pompous? I can't. The Football Terrace has been hosting rival fans for 7 years before anyone else had a neutral channel. And I was having callers phone in well before Roman had the club taken off of him, saying we love Roman, but we've got to change something, because if you actually look at the success that he had, and there was a lot of it over 20 years. I'm going to get the percentage slightly wrong because I haven't looked at the data, but like 70% of all the trophies came in the first 10 years before FFP and PSR came in. But PSR and FFP also came in at the same time as the TV deal money increased, and everyone else in the Premier League suddenly had more money, plus there were more billionaire owners. And they started competing for titles. It was a point of they competing for the title like every year in that 10-year period. Then it was in a title race, out of one, in one, out of one. And then you got to remember, Chelsea then went through 4 years under Roman without challenging for a league title. And I remember the Champions League.
Since coming.
But
no, I understand it, but they're building. But the point David's making is, I even remember the night they won the Champions League and the Chelsea fans phoning jubilant in tears. But a lot of them, when they calmed down, also said, this is amazing, but it is still papering over big cracks in our club because we're not challenging for league titles. So what I am saying is, this isn't David and Chelsea. This isn't Chelsea and David and Chelsea fans now saying this. It was being said at that moment in time. So the one thing I'd push back on is, I don't think David is rewriting the history from his perspective, because that was being said 2 years before Roman had the club taken away from him, in that regard. So I just want to point that out, because that has been said prior to that.
Good luck with Sanchez and Garnacho.
That's cool. If you look at the team,
good luck with them. World beaters.
No. If you look at the team that we had when Todd Bowley took over, when we had a front three of Timo Werner, Mason Mount, and Kai Havertz, oh yeah, damn well we've improved. We had a Kante whose legs had gone and he kept on getting injuries. We had Jorginho who was wash, Marcus Alonso and Ben Chilwell. Like Reece James was the only one left from that team. But then you look back at that team, Koulibaly, come on, Mendy in goal, and you're telling me that the club has not significantly improved in time, to the point now where we're going, Chelsea will probably be in and around those top three teams. I personally think we're going to finish above City this year. I personally do believe that. We are in and around the top. Well, I've got me third. I've got me third this season.
So when do you finish second, and when do you finish third?
I've said that this season is about consolidating consistency, because last year when we were in and around, people were saying we were in a title race in December last year. I didn't believe so, but we were nearly at the top of the league table. there was a time when if we'd won a game,
Bro, you sound like an Arsenal fan.
no, wait, hold.
I
No,
know.
wait,
Oh,
wait.
no, it's
No,
mad.
I don't sound like
You
Consolidating,
do.
consolidating. We're
There's-
nearly
there's-
at the top of the
again,
Premier League.
excuses.
if
All
you
I can
just
hear is
really-
excuses.
If it's
Go
all
out.
about just
What
what I
happened to
say,
Chelsea
no,
going
if
out
it's
there
all
and getting
about
the
just
best
what I
team?
say and
Go out and
you're
get the
just gonna
best
pick
players.
out bits and you're
That's
not going to
what
let me
you've
finish my point, then there's,
Well, yeah,
there's, no, there's no point.
But
There's no
mate,
point in being here.
just listening to you as a Chelsea fan, seeing what I've seen proper Chelsea fans say and have their mentality, and now you're going, well, we'll use this season to get together. And then next season, maybe we'll add a point, bruv. What you talking
I'm not talking
about?
about adding a
As a
point. I'm
Chelsea
talking
fan,
about
you should be going out there and going, get me the best in business and the goalkeeper, get me the best here, get me the best there, get me the best manager, and win it now. Rather than that, you're just
saying I had a
like,
championship
whoa,
manager.
we'll just
Last
have a
season you were saying
cuddle
I had a
this
championship
season,
manager.
get the
Only after having a
camaraderie up.
championship manager,
Get the
I've now got
camaraderie
to
up
win
in year
the league.
one.
You've
What
got to
we
pick a
doing
side.
it?
Do I have a championship manager? Yes or no? Pick a side, please.
Do you agree with the signing of
Is my squad
Garnacho?
good enough? Yes
Do
or
you
no?
agree with Garnacho?
No, I personally don't want Garnacho.
Right, so that's another thing you agree with me on. So what do you actually disagree with me on then?
I
You
disagree
agree that you're
with the
not
fact-
He just
bringing
don't
a
like
title
our
race?
golden blue
that-
Southampton. That's all. He's upset.
When you talk about Chelsea, you act like with this wayward club that is just happy with being third. It's not about
You
happy
aren't-
with being third.
Well,
I'm
you
not.
are.
No,
You're
no,
not
no, no.
changing.
No, because it's about building towards something. I don't think this year is the year we win the league. Next year is the year where I'm like, I
You're not
want
going
to
to win the league because you're signing Garnacho and these type of players.
But again, is Garnacho coming in to play left wing 38 times this season? No, he's not. That's
So why
not
are you
what
signing
Garnacho's
him
been
then?
brought in
So why are
for.
you signing him? Why are you spending
Because
35
Because
million
you
quid?
need depth as well. You need depth as
Depth
well.
from
who?
Another
I
kid, though.
am not a fan. I am not a fan
Depth
of
from
Garnacho.
what?
I am
What
not a
depth?
fan.
Depth
But
from
you're
what?
acting like you've got killers in
A kid
every
behind a
position.
kid.
You literally have
Come on.
you have Martinelli and Madwakey
Yeah,
and
shit.
these guys, and
Crap.
you're acting like you've got like every
No,
signing you make has got to
No,
be about
no,
killers.
I'm not. That's just your
You've got-
helmet
you've got-
tape
you've got
because you
Kovacic
know
in
that you've been
midfield.
backed
You've
into a
got
corner.
Kovacic in midfield, but
If
you've
you
got to have
listen to
killers
how I
in every
talk about my
position.
football club, I've got
Come
the
on,
same
this is
standards
like-
I hold as Arsenal as I hold to your football club.
No, my
Arsenal Football Club
point
haven't
is,
been good enough.
again,
I'm not
even look at
sucking the
Liverpool.
manager off and
Look
going,
at
oh yeah, different
Liverpool-
things for me than
no,
it is for you. But
Liverpool
Chelsea,
won the
I'm
league.
used to seeing you have a proper mentality.
No, again, it's not again.
My mates are Chelsea fans.
If you're going to live,
Guys, let me just jump in for a minute just because the audience actually can't hear either of you for a second. Sorry, I'm going to go to David, then I go back to you, Aaron. Go on,
if
David.
you're going to live in 2015, where all it is standards. I'm speaking to Twitter. Yeah, I'm speaking to a Twitter bot. Honestly, I'm just speaking to a parrot because it's a nonsense to act like you need, like you don't need to build in order to sustain success at the top. What Abramovich did. Hold on. Let me finish.
Aaron, let him finish, and I'll come back to you, mate. Let him finish, and I'll come to you.
Jeez. When Abramovich was in charge, it was we win the league one year, and the next year we're not even there. We are trying to achieve consistent challenging for big trophies, and that is what is needed. I think we'll be at that.
Winning the Premier
I
League,
think we'll be at that stage where I can consistently say we're going to win every trophy with chest next year. That's where I think we are. Because
you are an Arsenal fan, bro.
I'm not an Arsenal fan.
You
because
sound exactly like Arsenal fans.
I wouldn't have accepted what they've gone through.
Man.
They finished
exactly the same.
LB, if I'd finished second 3 times in a row, do you think I'd honestly be sat here saying I want my manager to stay?
Well, you're sitting here saying all the same things.
Because no, I'm not, because we are not in the same position.
Fourth and third.
We are not in the
What
same
we doing
position
here?
at all. They have been in a position to win the league 3 years in a row, and they're keeping the same guy in charge.
Yep,
I have not been
ridiculous.
in that position. So to put those standards onto me doesn't make any sense.
You're not
It
even
doesn't
there
make
yet.
any
And you
sense.
spent the money to be there. This is the point that I'm trying to make.
No, but again, if you
Skating past the fact that
Okay,
you've spent
fine.
over 2 billion quid, and this isn't just an overnight thing. You've been going at it for a very, very, very long time, numerous seasons. So I don't. Where's your cut-off point?
My point
Well,
again,
I mean,
if you look
4 seasons,
if
maybe
you
in
look
5
at the
seasons'
way-
time, we'll start buying
if you look at
established
the
players.
way
Why can't you
Chelsea's-
do that now? Why
if
can't
you look
do
at the
that
way,
now?
if you look at the way Chelsea's money has been spent, that 2 billion is not on the first team. Again, a third of that money is profit. It's profit now. So to act like
to
it's
buy
all just
Garnacho. To buy Garnacho.
hey,
I started
yeah,
off
but
by
yeah,
saying
but-
before you
yeah, but
jumped
with
on
that money-
that you
yeah,
need
but-
a proper centre
but with
back
that
and you need a
money-
goalkeeper.
but with that money,
That's what I'm
you're-
saying.
again,
You're
with that
buying
money, we bought Kukurea.
spastic,
With that money,
and
we
you're
bought
keeping the
Cole
crap
Palmer.
goalkeeper.
With that money, we
What are
bought
you doing?
João Pedro. With that money, we bought Liam Delap. So you can pick on Garnacho. Cool, do that. We can straw man
I
it.
will,
But again,
crap.
we've used the money that we've spent and the profit we've made to allow us to continue to improve this squad. So don't sit here and act like my quad.
So when are you going to sign?
my
When are you
squad
going to
is
change
wayward.
tactics then and start
Hang
signing
on.
proven
We've got
winners?
another Chelsea fan who's come in like Stone Cold Steve Austin. They're coming.
I wonder if this guy actually disagrees with us, or has he come on to agree with us as well?
Ches,
Because
what are you
everything
saying,
that's
Ches?
just been said is agreement.
What are you saying, Chad? Can you hear me, yeah?
Yeah, good, bruv.
What are you saying? I'm on holiday, so I'm on the beach. I thought I'll put in Football Terrace. I'm going to LB an hour and talk nice about Chelsea. And then I hear a lot of rubbish, really, to be honest.
Go on, tell us what you disagree with us on then.
LB, here's the thing. Here's the thing, yeah? Because this is the thing. Because it's a big platform, right? People do listen. You have a lot of viewers, right? And obviously, because we're involved in the YouTube thing, we all have our own opinions. And I literally specifically, I'm going to use one example to kind of back up my whole point. I remember the beginning of the window, that opening transfer window, you were sat here telling the audience, why don't Chelsea go for Mike Maignan? How are they going to compete in the Carabao Cup with Sanchez in goal? Look at their team. There's no winners. Go and sign that player. Look at Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. At that point, I think Liverpool and Man City had both signed Shirky and Florian Wirtz, I believe. And at that point, Chelsea hadn't signed anybody. I think who'd we signed? I don't think we were linked to Hatter or anything. We hadn't signed anybody. João Pedro was a bit later on. But cool. The point is, the team wasn't good enough to win. We then go further than you. You lose to who? I don't even know who their name is in Saudi. We go win it and beat PSG, who I believe you couldn't even get past the normal group stages in Champions League last season, correct? So let's say how Chelsea do this season. Let's compare those two. We aren't going to go win it, and then you would now put us on a title race. Based off the fact that we spent all the money, which we've proven can work to a certain degree. Yes, it's not the Champions League and Premier League. Won the Carabao Cup, and now we're looking to push on. Now, the discrepancy in Garnacho signing, for example, with Xabi Simons, that's very, I don't rate a player, therefore I don't rate the project kind of thing. Because if we were linked to, for example, Liao, you'd be sitting here saying, great signing, won the Carabao Cup. Because it's Garnacho and you don't really agree with that, you will have your opinion, which is fair enough to say, I don't think it's going to work. But the same people that you're criticising have just shown you in your face, to your point, that it wouldn't work, that it can work with Sanchez in goal. Even despite
so another Chelsea fan that's glazing Sanchez.
Let me know my point.
Amazing.
To hear the full extent.
Go on.
Even though I disagree, I agree with David will tell you, we don't rate Sanchez like that. But even despite Sanchez being in goal, we were still able to achieve X. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, that I don't want a new goalkeeper. But then, for example, when I don't know if you said this, get Donnarumma. Are you telling me Donnarumma guarantees us a Premier League next season?
No.
It improves your squad. And improves your
the team.
Okay, cool. Aaron, let me ask a question. If we sign Donnarumma, where do Chelsea finish as it stands?
They have a better chance of finishing higher with a better goalkeeper. And you don't stop there. You also buy a centre-back and you buy established players to bring an assault to change that gap from fourth or third to first. Something Arsenal have failed miserably at because we've had wank recruitment, especially last summer. This summer, good. We may or may not close that gap. We don't know. We'd have had the signings this summer, Arsenal Football Club, as we did last year. Maybe we'd have won a title. We don't know, but we didn't sign good enough. And that's the point I'm trying to make with you.
Do you know what I think this debate has proven, though?
Where you start buying players that are established and that will close that gap. It's
do you know what?
Everyone's
do you know what I will say?
IQ.
Do you know what this debate proves, though?
To understand.
Do you know what this debate has proven to me? That's why I've stayed silent. It has just proven that winning trophies isn't everything in football, because Chelsea have just won 2 and they're still getting criticised.
Yeah,
which I think just goes to
can I just quickly?
I love it. If anyone ever has a debate with you, send them this segment from the show. A team that's just become world champions and won a European trophy, it ain't enough, and that's fine.
That's not
it's
where
right.
They
It's not enough. But remember that trophies aren't all that matter in football.
But Terry, I don't think me and David are on here to say, "Oh, LB and Aaron, give Chelsea praise, win the cup." I'm not here for that. I'm just using your own words. I
don't understand what either of you two disagree with us on.
No, my point
is
you're both just raging that we're not glazing your team.
All these people and went, guys, Chelsea need to sign a goalkeeper. How are they going to win the Carabao Cup? We've just signed. What did you win last season? Nothing.
That was my worst season in a decade. Still finish above you.
By the way, you didn't give me this context before you went out the Carabao Cup, did you? That's not really the point.
Tell me what you actually. Let me ask you a question. Do you think how many points do you think you're going to finish behind the first position this season?
What kind of question? How much to know the exact points? I don't get your point.
Give us a
No,
ballpark,
just
Chez.
a range. Just a range. I'm still trying to work out what you two actually are on.
No,
it
my,
for,
my
to
thing,
disagree with
LB,
us.
we make,
I still don't fully
David, I know what
understand.
David said about trophies and winning. I've always said this for all clubs. Arsenal and Aaron can relate to this. My thing is, if you're going to do the process thing, you need to win along the way. That's why I cook Arsenal, not because they have a process, it's because their process hasn't yielded any winning. So it's all fun and games. That's why we all agree. You guys agree with that. You agree with me. I know you are. Because you can't just do process for 10 years and then go win something maybe. You got to win, even as the Carabao Cup, FA Cups. We all agree there. That's why I don't cook Chelsea the same way as Arsenal. Because even despite the fact we're 4th in the league, 6th in the league, we made the final, flopped it. That's why we got cooked £1 billion bottle jobs. Fine. Next season, we go win 2 trophies. Now, this season, if we don't win the league, or let's say we don't come 3rd, and to answer your question, let's say we're 15 points behind, or 20 points, let's say 15, okay? We would say a disappointing season, right? But if we win FA Cup and we finish 3rd, we've improved in the league and won a trophy.
But do you think that you will finish within 15 points of whoever wins the league?
I think so.
I think we can, yeah. I think if we
I
add...
think points is a weird metric to
the
base
points thing,
improvement
it's
off.
hard, it's
Yes.
hard.
Do you
But
think you'll be
LB,
within
see,
5
LB, see
points
what I
of
just
whoever's
said
won the
there,
league
LB,
with 5
1 second.
games to go?
LB, see what I just told you? You agree with me? I know you do. Because it makes sense. You win along the way. Arsenal
I agree. But I've
because
never
they don't
said
win
that
anything.
once, bro. I've never once said, that Chelsea are wrong. What I'm saying is, at what point are Chelsea going to start signing proven winners to go and win the title?
But again, right? The way that Chelsea are building, there's 2 ways to skin it. You can either go and you sign proven players to win it, or you can go the other way and say that the experience we have in the squad now, if they win along the way, which they are doing, will then yield you having that experience already, so you don't have to go out and buy 4 27-year-olds.
David, can I just second that? Can I second that? By the way,
but you need better players, though. That's the thing.
But
You
Aaron,
can have all
LB,
the experience you
can I
want. You need better players. You need a better keeper. You need a better centre back. No matter how many little Conference League cups you're gonna get,
Hold on, David. I don't. This thing, the irony is, I don't overly disagree with what they're saying. I think what LB and Aaron for the chat viewers listening, their point is, if you're trying to win next season, this season, you need to sign the ready-made today to win tomorrow, which I agree with on a whole.
Yes.
But the issue, what me and David are trying to tell you is, the Chelsea method is to still win, maybe not, unfortunately, not the Prem and Champs tomorrow, but you still win and you build a team.
Why?
But LB, I'm explaining something. So their point of view is, we shine Xavi Simmons, the Palmers, Enzos, another season of growing. They might win the trophies along the way. They might even win a Premier Champs. But in 2 years or next year, they're all 25, 26, where we expect them to now win every single year. So
what about if you don't?
What about if you don't?
What about if you don't?
And if we don't,
that's
we'll
like when Arsenal win the league. What about if they don't win the league?
So basically, you just wasted 5 years, which is what Arsenal have done for the last 5 years.
No, but again, I just said
what we do, boys. Listen, David, Chez, I appreciate you both jumping on the way you did. Chez, get back to your holiday, bro. Get back out in the sun. Enjoy yourself.
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling.
Go and enjoy yourself. Thank you both for jumping on. I appreciate it, boys, and I'll chat to you, man, soon. Cheers, gents. Thank you very much, boys. Thank you. Got some super chats to jump into.
We got nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Well, I don't know. Do you know what? I quite thoroughly enjoyed listening, to be fair. Sometimes I remember I was the host and jump in when everyone was talking. But look, I see their point of view and perspective. It's all going to be about the end result, because if in another year's time they start winning with this group and they don't buy any superstars, then they'll probably be able to come back and say, the proof was in the pudding. I don't think there's going to be an end result in a debate like this. If next season they win the league, and then they have sustained success of challenging and winning the league, then they'll come back and say building the structure the way we did has now led to this consistency of success. And I suppose they'd be right. If it's 3 or 4 years down the line and they're still not quite in the race or not getting over the line, the argument will be proven they were wrong.
One last point before you do.
Of course,
I just do not understand why any Chelsea fan would get upset about someone like me saying, why are they not going for better players than Garnacho? For some reason, that just triggers them. And I don't know one thing that them two just said that actually fundamentally disagrees with what I'm saying.
On the Garnacho point,
neither of them thought they were going to win the league. Yeah, which is what I've been saying. Yeah, neither of them think that Sanchez is a good enough goalkeeper, which is what I've been saying. But both of them are saying in 2-3 years' time, we're going to be good enough to win the league, which is what Arsenal fans have been saying for the last 5 years. Well, 3 years, 4 years.
Take
Anyway,
it from me,
sorry.
it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Especially from them, man. They come from a culture of winning now and next season and the season after. So to see that culture change like that,
The one thing I would say
wow.
about the culture thing is something that I wanted to put. Ronan said here. He says, referencing a time that is impossible to replicate now is pointless. This model is unsustainable with the new rules, and it's winning. They continue to improve and they continue to criticize. But
This is a club that spent £2 billion in the last 5 years, by the way.
It is, but it's also but half that money they've spent, they are going to sell those players on to keep the revenue of their club coming in at a higher level.
Because can I jump in with this? Sorry, I have to jump in. I'm really sorry, Tel. So so if you was to have asked Chelsea fans in 2022 when Bowley was it 21, 22, whenever when he came in and took over and they spent this 2 billion, they're all basically saying, oh yeah, you know, in the next 2 or 3 years we'll win the league. If you told them they'll probably spend the best part of £2.5 billion and not win the league over 8 years, would you be happy with that in 2022? Sorry, they're all go, nah, what, 8 years? We ain't Arsenal. This ain't a process. But now they're all so accepting of the fact that it's going to take £2.5 billion in 8 years, maybe to win a Premier League.
I think so. I think some. But to be fair, to say David that came on and Ches, they were both asking for something like this before it happened. They wanted something different. They wanted a different model because they felt
failure. Then is it? Is that what they wanted?
Well,
that's what Arsenal have had. Failure.
Well, look, yeah, look. You're, but then they've just gone and won.
A couple of cups,
Again, it's this, and this is where the debate's interesting and varied because some people claim that winning a League Cup is enough. It's a trophy and that's it. You know, there were gooners at the end of last season, man like Yardman, saying he'd rather be in the lesser European competitions and win it than be in a semi-final of a Champions League. But at the same time, Chelsea have just won a lesser European Cup and won the World Club Cup, you know, against loads of really good teams. And that's just a trophy. So there is progression there.
By the way, fair dues to them, Tel, by the way. Like, fair dues, lifting a trophy, that is what it's all about. But that's the point. What we all know on this panel is that's not where they want to be. Granted, everyone will nick a cup along the way back. They want to win the Champions League and they want to win the Premier League.
Well,
and they're nowhere near that.
Well, this is it, though. But this is why I think the idea of just talking about trophies is a little bit basic and redundant, is because Arsenal haven't picked up nothing in the last 5 years, but you are in the title race, which is where Chelsea fans are being criticised for not pushing their club to be. So that's why when people go, being in the race isn't enough in itself. Well, I think it is to a certain extent because you can't all win it every year. It no matter how fucking good your team is. We all know this. Me and you had brilliant teams in the 90s and the noughties. We couldn't win it every single year, but we were content in that phase. No one was talking about standards back then because if we came second or third, but we were a good team, we were always like, right, we know we're going to go for it again next year. And that's what clubs are now. This is what I'm asking for Man United. I don't want to spend loads of money one summer and have a good year or two and then drop off again. I want to build something that I can see is sustainable because that is what Fergie built. That is what Wenger built. That is what City have built. That is what Liverpool have built. It's sustainable over time as opposed to a good year there, a good year there, good when these players are at the club and then they leave and then you fall off again because it's not built on any solid structure. So I do think there's a debate and a conversation around that as well. But what Roman did in his first 8-9 years at Chelsea is absolutely impossible to do now. You can't spend, again, the amount of money you spend, although people go, they spent 2 billion, you've got to look at the inflation in football. If you look at what he spent in that time and put it in today's money, I think it works out at about £4.5 billion. No owner could come in and do that. Otherwise, Newcastle's owners would do it. You can't spend at that rate anymore. So I think there has to be a happy medium on that. He is buying players on his yacht. He was crazy that. Arsenal have spent $1 billion and you've won nothing. We've spent 1.5 billion and won 2 trophies. Maybe you should be like us, is what Driggly Introvert says here. Relegation battle for Man United. We weren't even talking about us. What's the dig for, bruv? What's the dig for, bruv? I don't think we'll be in a relegation battle, but there we go. Literally won a Champions League with that team. Like, does this brother LB believe he knows it all? Oh, is what Mutyard says. That's well, you.
Yeah, everything I say, I believe is true. Otherwise, why would I say it? So yeah,
yeah, that is right. That is right. David is talking sense. They choose to not understand, is what Mohammed says here. Your guests would have sacked Klopp inside a year. There is some truth in that as well. There is some truth in that as well with the way standards are spoken about nowadays. Yeah, I get you. Wait, why not Arsenal get Donnarumma too? Raya is better. Raya's a very good goalie, though. You don't need to upgrade on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Club World Cup and Conference League build statues is what Wayne Sage says here. This is what Chelsea fans do. They call everyone else's team shit. They say their own team has the best players, but then you can't say they'll finish above anyone. There is an element of that in the Chelsea fan base. There is definitely that. I see a lot of that. Arsenal speaks so much for a fan who doesn't even believe in his own team.
I don't really get the angle that you're coming from, really, because I was actually more really well equipped to have that conversation about Chelsea, considering I'm living it. So I don't really understand why some of these super chats are coming in. I'm like, are you even listening? That's the thing. They don't. They just don't like. They don't like me or how I deliver it, so they don't listen to what I say and then write stupid shit like that. But thanks for the fiver, mate.
LB was twerking for Ferry and Wirtz a while ago. That's why he didn't slag him off, though. He didn't slag him off,
bro. Another reason.
LB, Chelsea would finish with more than 15 plus points from Premier League champions. LB, mate, I think City might be too with that performance. They're thinking you might be as bad as Chelsea with that performance.
Bro, again, we finished above Chelsea last year in our worst league in a decade.
Abramovich era spending would make us the year 2000 leads in this current era with football. Please use your head. By the way, LB, our defense is still better than
another Arsenal comment. That's what Arsenal fans do. Oh, we got a better player than you. Saka's better than Foden. Rice is better than Rodri. That's what they do. All these comments are just Arsenal. I've just seen it again.
Yeah, this says our defense is currently better than yours, LB. And if you have Trafford on goal, then our keeper, while not great, is better than Trafford. So much hate.
Another Arsenal fan. This is exactly what I've heard from Arsenal fans over the last 4 years. Our goalkeeper's better than yours.
Agenda's ignoring. Lukaku didn't want to play for us. 2 centre backs going on freeze. 70 million, poor goalkeeper. No creativity in midfield. Players with legs gone. Debt. Little money to replace. Last standards under Roman Abramovich. That was the state of affairs at Chelsea in those last couple of years. It wasn't being very well run in that last period either. That is very, very true. Stop projecting your trophyless PTSD on us, is what Ronin says here. Genuine question. Do we fully rate the Club World Cup when Liverpool, Arsenal, Barcelona, Napoli weren't in it? 3 league champions and a UCL semi-finalist not in it.
I mean, obviously, it's not the Champions League, is it? Like, credit where credit's due. They won it. Yeah. They got them. They're big up to Chelsea. Like, respect. But
no one's not.
If you think I'm going to start saying they're in a title race because they won the Club World Cup, no way.
Yeah, no one's taking that. Fair dues to them. Look, they have nicked a few trophies. I wish my football club had done that over the course of the 5 years. Absolutely, no one's knocking them for that. But look what LB just said. You've won the Club World Cup. Fair dues. That don't make you favourites for the Premier League. Come on, what we're doing here. They're still nowhere near it. And all I'm merely saying is there's a few signings that you can make instead of signing another little kid. You can make signings that are ready for now to get you there closer. That's all I'm saying. It's not difficult. It just ain't difficult. Well, let's just carry on signing kids and it'll be a never-ending process then. We'll just keep doing that, Joey. Fine. Don't bother me. I can't stand Chelsea, so do what you want.
I am tired of the amount spent. Talk about the amount sold. Interesting. We'll come back to that in a minute. I want to obviously ask you before we kind of got running out a little bit of time now, but obviously wanted to chat about Hincapie to Arsenal. Aaron, obviously a fantastic start to the season for you. 2 wins from 2, 5 goals. Gyökeres bagging. The youngsters looking great. You're now the bookies' favourite to win the league, and you're about to break the £300 million mark. Eze was in last week as well. By all accounts, Hincapie is looked at as one of the best sort of centre-back stroke left-backs in Germany, and this is looked at as a bit of a coup if you get it. Plus, you've hired Dak Spurs again. You must be now, after a very good summer, a brilliant window, starting the season well, very excited about the campaign.
Well, I wouldn't say very excited. but I'm certainly a little bit more happier than I was about. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not somersaulting out of bed, Tell. Do you know what I mean? Oh, we've signed Hincapie. Let me somersault out the bed. But look, I'm obviously
But you've got Eze, Zubamendi, Gyökeres.
Yeah,
Like, it's
I
been
know.
fantastic summer. Come on.
I was gonna say it. Yeah, I was gonna say. Look, it's not been a bad summer for Arsenal Football Club. Let's get it right. Yeah, it's funny because when I said we needed about 10 incomings, everyone laughed at me, and now we're probably going to have 8, maybe even another one on the way after that. If you believe that, maybe there'll be another striker in there. So, look, at the end of the day, we've gone out and done it. We've put our money where our mouth is. I think there's a couple of little questionable signings in there, but the Madueke thing, I'll always be just a little bit down on, especially if a Rodrigo or someone like that becomes available and we can't afford them because we got Madueke. But look, it doesn't mean to say I don't want him to do well, Madueke, but that's the real sort of questionable bit of business, big bit of business I think Arsenal's done. Aside from that, I think the Gyökeres signing's been fantastic, and I'm really glad that his first goal for Leeds was one in open play, almost like a DIY goal. He's running out on the left and he sort of creates it for himself. Arsenal Football Club have massively, massively missed a striker that can just create a little goal out of something, and he gets it in open play. Obviously, the penalty is a cherry on top of the cake. Yeah, there's obviously a lot more positive things to say about the football team. 6 points from 6, great start. You literally cannot ask for any more. 6 points is good, coming off the back of a 5-0 win. You'd like to hope will give you a bit of momentum going into that Liverpool game, because obviously, that's a massive, massive, massive game coming up on Sunday. So, coming off the back of it of a 5-0 win, not too bad. Shame about Saka. It is what it is. It's a little bit devastating. You want your best players going to the big games. You know what I mean? You really, really need a difference maker like Saka. But yeah, look, overall, do you know what I mean? It's not been a bad window. I wish we'd have sold a little bit more to see, just in case we might have been able to add that one more player. I think outgoings haven't been phenomenal. But listen, overall, I didn't think Arsenal Football Club would have spent 300 million. So if they do get to that point, they put the money where their mouth is. And, fingers crossed, the manager can actually do his bit now and get them over the line, something which he hasn't been able to do, for the best part of the 5 years he's been at this football club. So there's no excuses anymore, That's it. You got your striker now. You spent loads of money. You've plugged the gaps. You know what I mean? There's no excuses now.
There's no excuses.
Go on and win the Premier League. No more excuses. Don't give me shit about, the ref was from Liverpool, that's why he gave a penalty. Don't give me any of that crap. Don't give me any of the crap about injuries and all of that. Half of them were self-inflicted. We all knew Saka was going to get reoccurring injuries. Why? Because he was rushed back from a grade 3 hamstring. Of course he's going to get reoccurring injuries. You don't need a crystal ball to work that out. So it's a little bit frustrating. Manage your squad a little bit better. You've brought more numbers in. He's got all the ingredients there now, really, to go on and do something. Mikel Arteta, over to you. Prove why you're on £15.6 million a year. Prove why you've been trusted by all of these fans. Prove why the Cronkies have inherited all of their trust in you financially and anything else. Go on and win the Premier League. Win the Champions League. If you don't, fuck off. Like, it's as simple as that. Go away. It is what it is. But listen, I'm happy. It don't look like it because I'm going off on, obviously talking about what we've seen before, what we think could happen. No one knows what was going to happen at the end of the season. Of course, I want Arsenal Football Club to win, but the expectation to win just isn't there because we haven't done it. If I was a Liverpool in the same scenario and a Man City, I'd be different because I know I've got a manager that can win things. But this football club, we've done all the business now. Arteta, over to you, bruv. Win us the Premier League or go away. It's not hard, is it? Not rocket science. It's now or never, isn't it? Come on, man.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't win a major this year, like what else can you say? I mean, he can't make any more excuses. He's got the midfield, he's got the defense, he's got the goalkeeper, he's got the striker, he's got Eze, he's now got Saka on the like. There cannot be any more excuses for Arteta. He has to deliver this year, and if he doesn't, then if Arsenal keep him, like, what does that say about their football club and what their ambitions are? Because for me, their squad is all but there. I'd still, if it was me, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd still be wanting like a big name on that left-hand side, like a Rodrigo. But, you can't have everything. I mean, you know, City have won the league without left backs. You know what I mean? Liverpool have won the league last year. You know what I mean? With a brand new manager. So not every team has perfect scenario. So that's it. I agree. I think this is it now. If he don't win anything this year and he stays, I don't know what that says about Arsenal Football Club and what they stand for.
Well, these lot just keep going. Oh, keep going. We're close. Next summer it'll be, oh, we haven't got the left winger. We need the left winger. They'll just latch on to some other crap.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm looking in the mirror and going, we haven't been good enough for 5 years.
I don't know if that will happen.
These Arsenal
Again,
fans, don't do that. Look in the mirror, bro. We ain't been good enough. That's why we ain't won a league, bro.
There's a polarized group, okay, on both sides. And what I mean by that is, if Arteta wins the league this year, the extreme Arteta outers, I can make you this promise now. So timestamp it and bookmark it, people, and come back to it if it happens. They will say, because I saw this with Wayne Rooney, when Wayne Rooney didn't score at the first World Cup and then the second World Cup. And I remember him getting dogs abuse before his third World Cup. They removed the context of injuries, but anyway, he then scored. And I was like, oh, thank God Rooney will get left alone. The same people that hated him then went, yeah, but it took him 3 World Cups to score. That will happen to Arteta from the extreme outers, the amoebas. They will go, yeah, but it's only the first title in 6 years. I still want more. Equally, there'll be some extreme idiots on the other end that if you have this squad and you miss out, there'll be excuses and the can being kicked. But I think the vast majority of Arsenal fans have all moved into a sensible middle ground here. The vast majority that I've had on that have backed him for 4 or 5 years, even the ones that have been against him and that wanted him gone, have all said similar on all my shows, which is, you know what? There are no excuses. The summer's been, by and large, excellent. You've addressed most of the holes. You may not all rate every player, because that's fucking impossible to actually do that. But you've covered a lot of the holes. And even Madueke, that I still think you could have got better. He's definitely better than Nelson and Raheem Sterling when it comes to being backup to some of these other players. I think the vast majority won't be given those excuses. There's those extreme groups, and I think those extreme groups are better off. They're just like wasps around a picnic. Do you get what I mean? They're there, but just swat them away. They're not worth a conversation with because they're never going to. I'm not saying you've got to convince people. I don't ever speak to you two on this show trying to convince you I'm right. It's just about putting a point of view across, and you listen to it. You go, I disagree, but I get it a lot of the time, and vice versa. Both those groups of people are not worth conversing with because they don't want to hear another opinion. So just let them speak, let them do their own thing. They're just wasps. But there are no excuses. And I've judged him for the last 2 years on what he's winning. This year, there's even less of an excuse. But the bookmakers have now made Arsenal favourites. And based on the first couple of games, look, the betting odds will always change week on week because people see it. Look how City were being lauded after beating Fulham, Wolves. Then they lose to Spurs, and the narrative changes. Chelsea, are they overrated with their draw with Palace? They smash West Ham. Wow, they look amazing. You know, these things happen early on, but yeah, there are no excuses. I think you've had a fantastic summer, and there are no excuses. I think Eze is a fucking game changer. I think he's going to win you so many points. And look, whether it was because of the Kai Havertz injury, whether it was because it's interesting that people say it was the Kai Havertz injury. And then you read all the stories that have come out that the man agreed to deal with Spurs and started phoning Arteta saying, can you come and sign me? There's something in that for me where maybe this was going to happen anyway. There's all that talk of PSR nonsense. Yet you've gone and dropped 68 on him and you're about to drop 50 odd million on Hincapie. There was no FFP problems. You always had the money. You've completed the summer, done a good job. No excuses now, all on the football. Arteta must deliver trophies this season. And that isn't weird pressure. That's because your squad build, your club rebuild was done 2 years ago. Your squad is looking amazing. Defensively, you're the best in the league, in my opinion. And yeah, there's no excuses for Arteta. And the debate should move away from the transfer window. Berta, Edu, are we good enough? You've got the squad. Now just focus on the football. Crack on with it. But I think you're going to have a good season overall. I really, really do think you're going to have a good season.
Just quickly as well, I didn't mention the Eze signing. I think that has been an absolute fantastic signing for Arsenal Football Club. I've wanted him for a couple of years, to be fair, and that's the player that does move the needle, I reckon. There is a creativity problem at Arsenal Football Club. There has been for the last couple of years. We just haven't had that game changer, someone who can produce a bit of magic, who can score that goal, to change a game. We've desperately needed that, and Eze ticks all the boxes for me. I mean, he's just ready to go, isn't he? He's absolutely ready to go, and I think he will probably play a few games on the left wing. Not really for me. I don't think he should, but knock Martin Odegaard outside, or play left 8 sometimes, if we want to play a 4-3-3, perhaps go an Odegaard and an Eze on the left-hand side. Do you know what I mean? And go and attack him 4-3-3 rather than having a Rice and Zubimendi. Obviously, game manage that. Don't go away at Liverpool and probably do that because you might get found out. But, at home and a comfortable game, there's no reason why you can't go that bit more attacking. So it gives us positional and formational options as well. Yeah, I'm buzzing with that signing. I'm not going to lie.
I hear that.
I'm very happy with that. Really good bit of business from Arsenal.
User here says Hincapie is quality. He'll play left back and push Skelly into midfield. Also, it's not just not a bad window. It's the best window in the club's history. I mean, look, you spent 300 million. I mean, it depends on how to look. On paper, I get your argument. They've got to deliver, but 300 million pound when Hincapie comes in. Listen, they said they told Sammy McBell in February it was going to be an unprecedented summer for Arsenal. Based on the money spent, it has been at the end of the day, but that's why the expectations go up. Devil's advocate, Arteta wins nothing. Do you keep him? If not, who do you replace him with?
I mean, anyone that's won a trophy in the last 6 years.
It'll be,
yeah. No one should keep him if he wins nothing this year, within reason. Just catching up, how desperate
to win the dog.
How desperate is LB for Isak not to go to Liverpool?
Me, desperate for? I'm not desperate for Isak not to go. I don't care about Isak going to Liverpool. I actually think you're better off playing with Hincapie.
He started very well.
I've said it already. Like, I think there's a bit of FIFA going on here where everyone's just like, if Liverpool get Isak, there's going to be even like a big upgrade in the way that. I don't think that football doesn't work like that. It's not just plug and play. You've got to build a team. I actually think Liverpool would be miles better off playing with Hincapie and strengthening the left wing position. As good as Gakpo's been, I think that's where I'd strengthen. But I don't know where you've got that from.
Hey guys, I won't say we haven't done anything the last 5 years like Arsenal because we won the Champions League, stripped out an owner and came back unlike two. I think it might mean you. Thank you, Raul. And listen, there's trophies there, but you've got to get back into these title races. That's the long-term goal, to be able to win it be capable of winning it every year. Boys, loved today. Absolutely loved the debate in the chat. The hijack from Chelsea fans as well is a little bit different. I want to thank the viewers, everyone who's hit the like button, everybody who has subscribed, super chatted today. It means a great deal to us. It really, really does. Before you leave, as I said, make sure that like button is done. This is going to redirect you somewhere. I don't know who we put it into today. That's going to Footy Judge Mo. I think he's already live. So go and support my brother over there on his show. But gents, we'll see you again same time next week. Everybody else, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.